So, Sharon, you're welcome.
Thank
now,
you.
Sharon, just give me some sense of who Sharon is. Where are you from?
I'm originally from Mayo,
Mm-hmm.
but I came to Cork 22 years ago
Yes.
because I married a Cork man, and
Very-
they don't
very
like
wise
to move.
choice.
They don't like to move outside the motherland, so there
Yes.
was no choices. It had to be Cork or not.
Okay.
So we're here ever since in
Okay.
Macroom.
Now, you're speaking to me today as a person who returned to education after a relatively long time. First of all, tell me what education you had in Sligo, isn't it, you said?
Yes.
Yeah.
After leaving CERT, I started a diploma course in social science in Sligo RTC that was, I'm not sure what it's called now.
Yes.
And my husband was there doing an environmental degree. But because he was ahead of me,
Yes.
the pressure was on once I knew that he was the one for me.
Yes.
So I finished at diploma level without having completed the diploma exams.
So was that 2 years or 3 years at that
3
time?
years.
3 years
Yeah.
for diploma, 2 for a cert and 3 for
Yeah,
diploma.
I got the cert and
Yes.
then I was doing the third year, but not with a great heart. I
Okay.
was anxious to be somewhere else. So I left and came to Cork and we got married.
And you got married. And that was the end of
That was the
formal
end of it.
education for you then, was it?
Well, the plan had always been that when we would come to Cork that I would go back at night and I would finish, but that just never happened.
That never happened.
So-
So you settled down to blissful, happy married life with a Corkman.
Yes.
And you had a family.
4 children.
Yes.
So it was pretty full on, and I was a stay-at-home mom for 12 years full time, and then I started working part time when my youngest child was 5 or 6.
Yes.
But it was mostly family life orientated rather than work orientated completely.
Okay. So at some stage then you decided to return to education. How long after leaving Sligo did you take that decision, and did you take that opportunity?
I left Sligo in 1989 and I started in Macgeegan College in September 2009.
So that's 20 years
20
later.
years.
You
Bang on.
started back in education
Yes.
again.
Yeah.
Okay. Must have been a fearful decision, was it?
Absolutely petrifying.
Yeah.
I had been made redundant from my part-time job in the January of 2009, and I was at home and I was toying with different things. Would I try and get another part-time job?
Mm-hmm.
But at that stage the economy had started to slow down, and I thought, right, same thing will happen again. I'll get another part-time job, I'll be let go, it'll just continue a cycle. So I thought, right, maybe if I train, actually have a proper qualification, it would help. And in one of my previous existences, I had worked in a nursing home here in Macroom on a night shift as a care assistant, and I really enjoyed it and I got great fulfilment from it. So I thought, that's what I'll do.
Mm-hmm.
I'll look into qualifying as a care assistant. So I applied to Macgeegan because they ran the community care course there, and I was accepted. But once I knew I was accepted, the fear really took hold, because 20 years is a long time without having to exercise your brain and to get yourself committed to something. And I suppose I was just afraid of failure. I was afraid, with 4 children at home looking up to me, that I was supposed to lead by example, that if mum went off into college and couldn't cut it, what would that say to them?
Yes.
So
it was actually a fear-based, almost a family-based fear, really, wasn't it? For
Yeah.
for your own children, that you might give them, you might discourage them in some way.
Exactly, that if I didn't perform or whatever, or I didn't like it and I dropped out,
Yes.
that would set a negative example for them going forward. I mean, one of them was actually doing her leaving cert that year, and there were very impressionable years in their lives, and you want to do the best for them.
Yes.
So I did think long and hard about it. I thought, I'm a good mother, I'm good at home,
Yes.
I'm organised, I'm able to run my home. So maybe I'll just be happy with that and leave the education to somebody else.
Yes.
But then part of me thought, no, you know what? I owe it to myself to try.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, okay, if it doesn't work out, I'll cope with it. I'll be able to justify it maybe to them at some stage. So I went in there with fear, very low self-esteem in my abilities. But after a couple of weeks under the tutorship, it was...
Yeah. Did the family encourage you?
Um, yes, they did, but when they actually got the reality of Mum being gone Monday to Friday doing her thing, it became a different kettle of fish. I mean, it's very easy to be encouraging when you don't have the knock-on effect
Yes.
of having to make your own bed
Yes.
and walk home from school on a rainy day, and you know, those things.
Yes, but very good for them at the same time.
Absolutely.
Yes.
It has been fantastic for them, because
Yes.
they were very dependent on Mum, always being at their beck and call.
Yes.
I mean, suddenly now your gym kit, you were responsible for getting it from the bag to the washing machine and back again, rather than me
Yes.
doing it. Little things. It's made them. I
So
think actually it has made them more better people going out into the world, because they're more self-sufficient now.
Yes, yeah.
So I did them all a
Great.
favour.
Such as education for the children as well as for
Exactly,
Mum.
and mostly my husband as well. God love him. He never took up so many household duties as he did that
Well,
year.
fair play. Weren't they great to support you in that way,
Absolutely,
though? All of them.
absolutely, yes.
Yeah. Well done. Well done. So you went to McEgan then, and there was a course there which you felt would suit your sense of where you were going. Now, you spoke about the fear from the family side of it. Let's talk about the fear from the actually facing into school. Was that there? The actual school itself? The whole idea of...
Probably because it was local.
Yes.
And I would have known a lot of the teenagers that were down in McEgan doing their secondary school. So it was like, oh my God, what's her mammy doing down here?
Yes.
That aspect was a bit daunting. Plus, you know, getting the timetable, committing to being in a classroom at 10 o'clock in the morning, no matter what else was happening.
Yes.
Getting your assignments done. But once I started, I realised, God, I was loving it within about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yes.
Like, there was also the apprehension, of course, about everybody else that would be in the classroom with me. Was I going to be able to speak to them? Was I going to be shy? Was I going to be able to interact? Where were they coming from?
Yes.
Would there be a bond there?
Yes.
And we were a nice, merry bunch, and it was brilliant because I think that actually everybody who started finished.
Yes.
Which was testament to the lecturer, but also to all of us together as a group, encouraging one another. And so I think the fear of the education vanished fairly fast.
Yes.
Once I got into it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so you got into your routine, and
Yes.
your whole family came into a routine then as well, no doubt.
Yes.
Everything fell into place.
It
you're
did.
saying
It had to.
essentially. So what was that course exactly now again?
That was a FETEC Level 5 in community care.
Okay, and that's a 1-year course.
It was
is
a 1-year course, and you went out on placement twice,
Yes.
working in your chosen field. So, like, I did 2 placements as
For how
a
long?
care assistant. Memory serves, I think
2 or
it was
3 weeks,
2 or
maybe?
3 weeks, maybe 4 weeks. I couldn't be
Okay.
100%, but like, it was enough to give you a good taste
Yes.
of what it would be like when you would finish up.
Okay, very good.
But somewhere along the line in that, I started to think that maybe that care assistant might not be quite enough, that I might just push the boundary just another little bit, seeing as I was out there.
Yes.
And I had started the whole education, that I didn't really want to give up after a year.
Okay.
So that's where the next step came in.
Okay,
then.
so you just spent 1 year in McEgan then,
Yes.
was it? And
Yeah.
then what did you do?
Then I applied to do social work in UCC. Because it kind of tied in with what I'd done in McEgan, but it also tied in with what I'd done in Sligo all those many years ago.
Yes.
And I kind of thought, yeah, it had stayed with me all those years, so it would be probably a good fit for me. So
did you have to were you able to go into second year
No,
in UCC? You had to start
Yeah.
again there.
you filled in your CAO form, and there was an entrance exam called the MASSUP, I believe it was, all multiple choice
Yes.
and write essays and all this. And then there was an interview process and then acceptance.
Okay.
So yeah,
Okay.
that was
So at what stage are you now?
going into 3rd year in September.
And it's a 3-year course,
4.
is it? It's a 4-year course.
4.
Do you?
So halfway there.
This is for you'll become a social worker at the end. Is that
Yes.
the one?
Yeah.
The social science degree.
It's a
Yeah.
pure social work degree.
A social work degree,
Yeah.
is it? Yeah. I'm actually showing my age here in the sense that I suppose some of the courses have been retitled.
Social science is still 3 years.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm starting to lose touch now
Uh-huh.
with all of this. Now, the UCC experience, I presume you took that in your stride, or you're taking it in your stride, are you? There's no fear anymore.
No, Not as much. I think the grounding that you get by going in at FETech level 5 is you can't question it. You need it. I actually needed it. I wouldn't have been able to go from nothing straight into UCC.
Yeah.
I think the breaking in gently at level 5 and the way they take the time to build up your confidence in yourself.
Yes.
Is worth it. It helps you to make that extra leap from 5 to 8.
Yes.
Like the degree I'm doing is a level 8. Like that's a huge jump. If you didn't do 5, you'd be going from 0 to 8. And I personally, I think if you start small and build up,
kind of get yourself back into the system, as it were, and
build
get
up
used
your
to it.
confidence in your learning ability and the fact that you can do it.
Yeah.
Because certainly the first assignment that I handed in UCC, when I got the result back, I wasn't very impressed.
Right.
And I went to the lecturer and I was like, hello, what's this about?
Yes.
And he went, oh, yes, you've done a FETAC course, haven't you? And I went, yes. And he goes, and you were scoring quite nicely. And I went, yes. And he goes, well, this is 8, you did 5.
Yes.
So we need to sit down and get back to basics. And whereas if I had done nothing,
yes,
I don't think I would have been able for the criticism and the pressure and you needed the.
Okay, so you mentioned early on that when you took up this FETAC course, first off, that you questioned your own ability, whether you would be able to get through exams, whether you'd be good enough, and if you failed. How are you now in UCC with regards to all that stuff?
I take a lot of it in my stride now. I don't put myself under major pressure for assignments. I do work I'm very organised by nature. That stands to me massively. So I would say to the kids at home and to my husband, God love him, I have an assignment, it's due in 2 weeks. I'm going to be in the office from this block of time. Unless the place is on fire or somebody dies, you're not to come near me. And everybody's accepting of that. And if I can work that way, then I'm calm and everything at home is grand. But if I'm not allowed to work, then it gets a bit frantic and I get a bit on edge, because at the back of your mind there is that pressure the whole time. This is my last chance.
Yes.
If I don't do it this time, I ain't ever going to do it. And I think I know after the 2 years I've put in, plus the year in Mackegan, that I can do it.
Yes.
So it would be my fault if I don't do it. And you owe it to yourself.
Yes, to see it through, really.
Exactly, yeah, to the best of your ability.
So, well done on that. And you hope now to go into social work after finishing your degree.
Yes.
So what is your message today now for people out there who might be listening to you? People who are sitting at home, will say, people just like yourself, who have maybe their children are at a stage now where they can be independent, as your children became and have become in many respects. They'll always depend on you, mind you, believe me.
Oh, I know. They lapse into bad habits very fast when you're home for the summer. Absolutely.
But what's your advice? What would you say now to somebody who was in your position?
I would tell them to take the first step. They won't regret it. If it doesn't work out, you can always try again. It's local, it's on your doorstep, they don't put you under too much pressure, you work to your own pace and you get masses of encouragement from the lecturers down there. And it's a nice friendly environment to test the waters. So I would say do it. You've got nothing to lose.
Yeah, and it occurs to me that you're a person, I suppose, who came into Macroom, and maybe the whole thing of making friends would be also an issue.
Yeah. I mean, we came to Macroom and like you may meet the friends at the school gates.
Yes.
But then when your children no longer need you to collect them at the school gates, then you lose touch with those people. And it's very... I would say I have a handful of very good friends in Macroom.
Yes.
I still have friends from home.
Yes.
But now I have a whole new
set of friends
set of friends through education.
Okay.
So it opens you up.
Yeah. Thanks very much, Sharon.
No problem. Thank you very much.